This is the Season Long Podcast in support of the YouTube channel SeasonLongBaller. Happy to have you with us, and this is our first broadcast for 2023, or our first podcast for 2023, and I'm glad to have you here. So, on our YouTube channel SeasonLongBaller, we are simulating an actual NBA season on the NBA 2K23 player video game with Player Build Jaymont Summerz, and that build is down in the description. 6'5" point guard out of William and Mary. Now, what we do on the channel is we are simulating the season. We play just 6-minute quarters. We'll even have something to mention about that a little bit later. But we only play 6-minute quarters. And as I mentioned, we are mirroring the actual Washington Wizards schedule. So when the real Wizards are playing, we are playing. So taking a quick look here, as you see, as the schedule, since we have not done a podcast in a few weeks, this is what you have, what has happened over the past 3 or 4 weeks since we last had a podcast, which was on December 19th. And since then, we've defeated the Suns, the Jazz, and the last loss right now of the season was in Sacramento on December 23rd, an 88-80 loss, which was the end of that long 6-game road trip, which I believe is the longest road trip the Wizards will have all season. The next week, past Christmas, of course, the Wizards, so you knew the Wizards weren't going to be playing on Christmas Day. But on the 27th and the 28th, as you see, back-to-back wins against the 76ers and the Suns, this time in Washington. Our first look at the Orlando Magic, an 86-67 victory there. And then we rang in the new year with the Bucks and Giannis and Chris Middleton. And yes, Chris Middleton is injured has been in and out of the lineup here recently for the real Milwaukee Bucks. But in our simulation, he is actually fine, and we'll talk a little bit about injuries just a bit later. But the Milwaukee Bucks is how we rang in the New Year's in Milwaukee and blew them out in that game, 81-63, and then did it all over again 2 days later on the 3rd and defeated the Bucks 84-79. And we'll have a couple clips from that game as Jaymont Summerz had actually was very key in the waning moments of that game. And then an 89-81 victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that was just 3 days ago. So taking a look at some of the other things that have happened, as you see, Jaymont Summerz was Player of the Month in the Eastern Conference for December. And you may have noticed during the broadcast that they kept displaying that, but he would always be in the wrong team's jersey. He would never be wearing a Washington Wizards jersey. But nonetheless, Summerz did get the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for December. And consequently, as you'll notice, and I don't think we mentioned it before, Rookie of the Month, Jaymont Summerz has now got it 2 months in a row for the months of November and December. And you see Banchero there getting it in October. We just saw Chet Holmgren in the game against the Thunder here recently a few days ago. And again, highlighting that difference. As you know, Holmgren is out for the season in real life, unfortunately. But Holmgren was the Player of the Month in the Western Conference in November. And then Keegan Murray, Player of the Month for the Kings, Rookie Player of the Month of the Kings in December. Player of the Week, the last week of 2022. As you see, Jaymont Summerz was Player of the Week for December 26th through January 1st in the Eastern Conference, and LaMelo Ball is right now the current Player of the Week in the Eastern Conference. Now, we were talking about injuries just a moment ago, and you can look at this list. The latest, probably biggest injury now, Mo Bamba is out for the season for the Magic with a fractured left leg. As you see, he's done for the season. Torrey Craig of the Suns is out for 4 to 6 months. That'll probably mean he's out for the rest of the season. Jason Tatum has been out for the season for a while with the ruptured left Achilles, as you see in our simulation here. It was season, if I recall right earlier. Now it's 4 to 6 months. I don't know if that means that he could possibly squeak in if the Celtics make a playoff run. But right now, I don't even think they're in playoff position in our particular simulation here. But those are probably the biggest 3 injuries right now. Bamba definitely out for the season, because that's what the duration they have up there for him. And then Torrey Craig and Jason Tatum being out for extended periods of time. And that is not good. And also Thibault from the Sixers, broken left leg. But as you see, they have that up there as 4 to 6 weeks. So that makes me think that probably around the springtime, he may be returning. one quick note here. There have been very few trades in my simulation so far, but one of the bigger ones is Gordon Hayward going to the Hawks from the Hornets, and the Hornets getting Malik Ellison and the Hawks 24 first-round draft pick. Thought that was a pretty interesting trade, but that occurred today, actually. So, again, very interesting trade there. And then one other final interesting note that has nothing to do with the Wizards here, but we were talking about those 6-minute quarters a little bit earlier. And in this game from a little bit earlier this week between the Raptors and the Bucks, notice there in the third quarter, the Bucks did not score at all. That is amazing. In the third quarter, you see they were outscored 18-0, and that led to a 62-40 loss. In our meeting against the Bucks, a close fourth quarter was ended up turning into a blowout for the Wizards when the Wizards outscored the Bucks 17-3 in the fourth quarter. But that's still better than 18-0. So now let's take a look at some of the highlights that we have had over the past 3 weeks. One of these plays is one of my favorites from Daniel Gafford as he gets a block on Giannis. Then a sequence of key baskets by Jaymont Summerz in the fourth quarter against the Bucks and the Thunder. And then I think we've got a defensive play against the Magic. We'll run all those highlights, and we'll start those right here. Wizards got a little bit lucky that Lopez didn't handle the pass initially to get the interception, or that would have been different. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. The block from Gafford as he pins it against the glass, and it ricochets over to the Wizards. Oh, he really got that on Summerz. On Giannis. And now with the score tied at 79 with under a minute, Summerz has Portis on him. He'll shoot the three. He's got it. Oh, clutch three from Summerz there. Portis was on him, but Barton, who just hit the clutch three, brings it up to Summerz. Oh, Summerz has got Lopez on him, but I don't think we're shooting the three this time. Let's take him. To the hole on Lopez. He can't keep up. Summerz flushes. And that is important. 5-point lead with less than 24 to go. And Summerz's dunk may have just put the wraps on this one. Barton over to Summerz. Had a notion on Giddey to shoot the three, but decided not to. Now we'll go pick and roll with Gafford. I like this idea. Coming downhill against Giddey. Kicks it over to Porzingis in the corner. Back to Gafford. Summerz with the three with the shot clock running down and hits. Oh, that was a very key three-pointer right there. The only three-pointer Summerz has hit this game. But that is key. That could be the dagger three of all unlikely sources. Check in. But it looks like Summerz is still on the floor with 3:20 to go here in the first quarter. And an 11-2 lead as Summerz gets an interception. Let's go to transition three. No. Let's go reverse layup. Yes. Wow. When's the last time I intercepted a pass this season? Maybe knocked the pass around, but intercepted? We'll definitely take that. That puts the Wizards up 13-2. I really like that Gafford block. I don't know if there's a such thing, or I haven't thought about making a play of the year for the Wizards that's not involving Jaymont Summerz. But if I do that, that is a strong contender right there, that Daniel Gafford block. I really liked watching that one. Anyhow, as we draw to a close on this podcast, keep in mind just a little bit later on today, we will be taking on the New Orleans Pelicans, our first look at Zion Williamson. Again, another key difference is Williamson will be playing in our simulation. Obviously, he is hurt in real life. Then on Wednesday, we will get our third look at the Chicago Bulls and Lonzo Ball. Again, another one of those differences, as Ball has not played all season for the actual Bulls, of course, but he has been in all of the games in our simulation here, and this will be our third look, and so far the Wizards have not lost to the Bulls at all. Then we get our first look at the New York Knicks on Friday the 13th, and for the second consecutive weekend, no games on Saturday and Sunday, and next Monday we get our first look at Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. That's going to do it for this season-long podcast. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Again, I hope you have had a happy and wonderful start to your 2023. Join us in just a few hours as we take on the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson. That's going to do it for this season-long podcast. This is Season Long Baller.